right, welcome back. Welcome back to what are we calling this? Episode 4 of season 1 of the Bias but Not Bias F1 podcast.
You know it.
I'm your host T, and
F1C. You know it.
let's go. All right, so what do we got? We got the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix of
Oh yeah.
2022. Right. All right.
hmm
Now, got what, 2 practices down. So practice 1, everybody's just coming out there, just shaking the cobwebs off. Well, at least not the cobwebs. I'll say
hmm
it was only 7 days, so not that much cobwebs to shake off. But there were some problems that people faced in the last race, like Red Bull with their power units, and they're losing the fuel. So apparently they got that fixed, which like I said, I ultimately predicted.
They'll say whatever they want to say. I just feel like it's bigger than that. I think they said that just because they didn't want to like change the motor, but I think it's deeper than that. I think
Oh,
that's like a quick fix. That's just me personally. Mike.
Gasly has a new power unit because his caught on fire. So,
Mhm.
they can't really say anything much about that one. He had to get a new one.
Mhm.
But apparently, like I said, they said that it was just a fuel pump issue. So, I you have to take it at face value,
Okay.
for
I
what it
mean,
is, and I say that's a face value. But Ferrari again looking fast.
I,
So.
I I knew that already because, like I said, if you looked at the track last year,
Mhm.
and the shootout between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen was probably one of the, I'm gonna say, to me, one of the best qualifying sessions in a while. I mean, don't get me wrong, the slingshot in Dubai, yeah,
Shake
that
and
was
bake.
cool. But I mean, last year Saudi was awesome. Like, dude, the way how Max like, I take my hat off to Max because he drove the wheels off of that car, knowing that Mercedes had their party
RD
engine.
motor, right?
Yeah, he drove the brakes off. Like like even when he came through like the first sector, I was like, dude, he crashed. I thought he crashed, but like he barely clipped the barrier, and I was like, yo, he's going for it. And then because even Mercedes was like, yo, he got it. Like there's nothing we
Exactly.
can do. And then that
Hit the
last
wall.
corner, he just hit the wall, and I was like, dang, dude, that's crazy. So I mean, from the way how Ferrari ran in the last race, and knowing how, and like you can just see it in practice how Mercedes was just struggling. Like
Yeah,
they're
so for
struggling
free
bad.
practice 1, they were what? I think what, ninth and 15th in free practice
Mhm.
1.
But then they
Well,
changed it in FP2, so they kind of
exactly,
stepped it up a
because
little.
Bottas was in P3
Mhm.
uh in free practice 1. But like I said, not to say that Bottas is a bad driver and Alfa Romeo is a bad team, but again, they are running the Ferrari power unit, which is definitely seems to be the stronger of the power units for at least the time being. Um yeah, that's pretty much that with that. And like I said, you still, the Mercedes power units are struggling still at the back. Like you said, you have your Mercedes, obviously, like I said, ninth and 15th in practice, and the McLaren, what 13th, um, what 13th, and then you have what, Nico Hulkenberg all the way back in 16th, and Aston
Oh,
Martin.
Nico
So
Hulkenberg's still running. So Seb, I thought Seb came
no,
back.
Seb, he's still out. He wasn't cleared
Uh,
for come for this race. So Nico's still in for him.
and that
Um
shocked me too, because like when I assume, because my main thing was what's Seb gonna do in the car, because if I know that Seb is a better driver than Hulkenberg is, and I
Absolutely.
just wanted to
Yeah.
see like what he would have done to push the car. You know what I mean? To maybe that next level, because we haven't seen a lot from Sebastian since he left.
No, I mean, well, obviously he's been sick, so he
Let me
can't
not
technically,
say that, but
he's been in the down with COVID, I guess. So
mhm,
I mean,
bad
hopefully he
though.
gets cleared for next race. And everything's back up to speed with him, and he gets back into the car.
Mhm.
But like I said, if you look at the free practice 1, the back of the grid is pretty much Mercedes power units, and the front of the grid is Ferrari and Honda. So it's definitely showing signs of where things are going early parts of the season. And
I
same
just
thing.
I just want to see what the to me this race is going to be for me what the reliability is going to be, because I just want to know, because if if Red Bull Honda motors are, acted up in the last race, and we already saw a couple signs that Ferrari and Haas are kind of showing. It's going to be interesting. I like, me personally, to tell you the truth, I think Red Bull is gonna wrap up this weekend. I don't think they're gonna get a 1-2 like Ferrari did, but I think you'll see a Red Bull taking it, like, no questions asked. Like, Max is on the verge. I think Mercedes is just gonna, run their
I'm
life.
still picking up the pieces right now. Like I said, if
Ferrari, I just think it's just gonna be Red Bull Ferrari.
yeah, I mean that's as of right now, that's the name of the game right now. Red Bull, Ferrari. Yeah, like I said, Mercedes, what they're fifth and sixth. They're what 4.3 and almost a half a second, more than half a second off the
Mhm.
pace. So yeah, that's definitely a lot of ground to make up in terms of Formula One time. So yeah, I'm definitely willing to see what's going to happen, but I'm willing to put my money on saying that I want to see Leclerc. I want to see Leclerc win another race and cement his kind of
Dominant.
place in trying to win this championship. I think it's due time for him. I think
Mhm.
he waited patiently those 2 years with the car in the condition that it was and not being up to speed, and now it's just time to shine. Max has already got his one championship. He's definitely going to be interested to get another second one, but they've already got this little, how you want to say, mishap with the double DNF in the
Mhm.
first race. So,
I mean,
but
I
before you go forward, but can I say it's weird not to have Mercedes in the
um
top of your tongue for the for fight up front? For
you want
me,
me
it
to tell you
is.
why I don't see it as weird? Because I've been watching Formula One for so long, so I've seen the ups and downs. So I sat through the Ferrari era. So when Ferrari stopped and you started to see Renault come in, and you're just like, okay, well, I felt the same way. I was like, man, it's kind of sucks not seeing Ferrari up there. But
But
then when Renault was doing their thing, it was like, okay. But then Mercedes came back, and McLaren was doing their thing. And it's like, okay, well, McLaren, but then Ferrari won the championship. It's like, oh, okay, all right. Ferrari, you still got a little there.
that's
We can
what it's true. It's definitely still early in the season because, like I said, it's only the second race. So, but it's still
Mhm.
definitely kind of a little weird to not have that. Yeah, we're gonna see Mercedes in the mix. That's Silver Arrow, but continue on. My bad.
No, 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 no. Like I was saying, I mean, I've seen all the errors. So I've seen, like, when it comes to, great teams coming in. Like, I knew Mercedes era was. I mean, when Red Bull's era was going on, I was like, oh my gosh, all right, Seb's gonna rack up another 7 championships. But then when not even that, before that, when McLaren won, when Lewis won his first championship, McLaren was really good. Like, they were they, they were hot trash before Lewis came in, because I everybody keeps saying, oh, he had the better car, oh, he had this. It's like, no, dude. If you, like I said before in the previous podcast before that, McLaren had a really bad car uh the year before Lewis came in. Like, I think they only got two podiums, if I'm not mistaken, and like tons of DNFs. Like, it was crazy how much problems they had. And then once Lewis came in and Alonso, everything kind of was like fine printed, and they got like what they needed.
And
So,
by that
like,
time, they got the sponsorship money that came with both of those drivers and everything else, so they were able to put the extra, funds
remember
into developing the car.
When Lewis came in, he was only supposed to do like half a season, and they were going to give the rest to Pedro De La Rosa, because Lewis really didn't have much back sponsor. He was just getting it because um
Rock
um what's his name? God, jeez. Ron Dennis was
Dennis,
like, "Hey, I'll give you a shot.
yeah,
Just prove it to me." And almost won the championship. He was like, dang, this kid is good. You know what I mean? So I mean, you can't. It's they were hit and miss, but like I saw the error, and then when he won his first championship, I was like, it's done. Next year he's gonna win the championship. It's gonna be two. He's gonna at least, because when we were looking at Lewis, I was like, he's gonna be like a two, probably a three-time champion, but more than likely two. And like just to see, and then when Seb, and then when I hate mentioning his name, but I'm gonna say, but when Jensen Button won his championship, you were just like, they were like, oh, Jensen Button's gonna win another one. I was like, nah, Jensen Button's not gonna win another one. I was like, because that team, he's going. I was like, that team is not gonna win another championship. They had their loophole that one season. You won your championship. Now you're going to McLaren. Let's see if you can drive. And I think out of the, what was it? He was there when he raced with Lewis. I think he was there for like 3 seasons with Lewis before Lewis left.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going by, I'm just thinking. I mean, I can pull it up in Google, but it's too much work and I'm gonna slow everything down. But I think when he was there, he only beat Lewis once in one season, and that's when he was pushing Vettel for the championship. But I mean, other than that, he never really showed up. And then once Lewis switched over to Mercedes, like Mercedes was like, okay, let's fine tune it. They fine tune it and it was done. And then I sat through the Mercedes era. So now maybe it's time to the tables are turning.
I
And back
definitely
to
think it's time to pass the reins in terms of seeing new, or not necessarily new, but another team come and have their show of dominance. Because again, like I said, Ferrari sat back for 2 years and watched both Red Bull and Mercedes duke it out between themselves,
Mhm.
and not have much say throughout the years, because not because they couldn't, because they chose not to, because they were focusing on new rule changes and things to come in the future, which is, and now showing off to be one of the better moves. But I don't think Mercedes or Red Bull had that option, because they were fighting with each other. So they had to keep up that arms race per se,
Mhm.
during the season, and
Mhm.
develop the car for for this newer season.
But we're not going to sit here and act like Ferrari was never competitive. They
No, oh,
almost,
no, no, no,
you
absolutely.
know,
I'm not
they've
saying that they
almost
were never
they were
competitive.
competitive when Vettel was going up with Lewis for those for, I think, when they were going for the fifth championship, when they both had four and they were going for the five.
But yeah, how long ago was that though? My man's on the seventh, fighting for his
I
eighth.
know, but still, but they were there. It's not like they weren't. You know what I
But
mean?
yeah, but like I said, they themselves even said that the past 2 years were put off to develop this new car, because we knew that the rule changes were going to be astronomical in
Hmm.
terms of what they were envisioning. And so again,
Hmm.
I
But I
think,
think the real question is Ferrari going to be the new Braun, where they win one championship and then don't win another for a while? I mean, like you said, you want to see, you know, them be dominant,
yeah,
but will they be that one shot wonder? You know what I mean?
it's a possibility. Everything's always a possibility. If you want to, if you're calling it this early in the season, that's definitely something that you can say, oh yeah, Mercedes or Red Bull, or they're gonna figure out this magic pill and put it down and get their car back at the front of the grid.
Hmm.
Um, or you can say somebody else is gonna magically find something out mid-season, and or next season, and replace Ferrari. Who knows? But as of right now, it just looks like Ferrari has the better combination right now, as far as driver and car and power
But
unit.
one thing I've learned, even watching Mercedes through DTM,
Mhm.
is that when they get it down,
They get it right.
there's a problem. It's
Exactly.
the same thing with Audi. It's the same thing with Audi. When Audi came into at Le Mans
Mhm.
back in '99, when BMW won it, they came with 4 cars.
Yeah.
They came with 2 open tops and 2 hard tops, and they sat there. They were like, okay, we didn't get it this year, but next year we'll get it, and it's the same thing. And then when they came into DTM, is the same thing. So I just feel like what Mercedes right now is like, okay, all right, we're still developing. Give us a sec, and you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
So
You can't. Then they haven't thrown in the gloves. It's too early in the
mhm.
season. And
Oh
again,
yeah,
they're just they're slowly getting things back into shape and rounding things up. And I think again by fourth, fifth race, I think they're going to have a solid idea of what direction they need to go to get things into into line. But
mhm.
moving down the grid, because those are not the only two teams on the grid here. We got Alpine. Um, interesting, like I said, still running those Renaults. I think they're the only, yeah, they're the only team still running the Renaults. So interesting.
Because who else? Yeah, I think they're the only ones because Haas is running Ferrari, Toro Rosso's running Hondas,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Alpha
Aston Martin
Series,
is running Mercedes.
yeah. Yeah, they're the only ones running Renault engines.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely going to be interesting as far as terms of reliability for them, because again, they don't have anything to kind of reflect on. So they're going to be themselves, or each one of them going to be their own guinea pig in a sense.
I
Um,
just I just feel like it's time for Alonso to hang it up. I get how everyone claims he's one of the best drivers and all he needs is a good car. And I'm
but
like,
they said
dude,
that
it's
for Felipe
time,
Massa.
bro. It's time. Just I look, hey, look, Tom. If Tom Brady's still going and everyone's looking at Tom Brady and they're like,
Don't
I
do
want to be
that.
like Tom Brady.
Don't do that, because
Yeah,
the guy that bought his last football,
yeah,
uh, I know he's pissed right now. So don't do that.
yeah. I know, but I just feel like it's time for. I just feel it's time for a new driver to come in. I feel put in some youth in now. Give us at least give us something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but you could say at the same time, like, look, how long Kimmy lasted, and however long.
Kimmy were are like Kimmy was the same. I think a little bit older than not even a little bit older.
Yeah,
They
they
were
came
almost
around the
the
same
same
time.
age.
So
Yeah.
they came around the same time. But like I said, Kimmy lasted, just until last season, and he ended up retiring. So definitely, it is. I think Alonso has other interests in other sports, so yeah, he can definitely find something else to do. Yeah.
He was going for the Grand Slam, but it didn't work out for him
Yeah. That
because I
didn't.
think the Grand Slam is you win Monaco, Daytona, Indianapolis, and what was the other? It was Monaco. So you win the Monaco Grand. Oh yes, Monaco Grand Prix, Indianapolis 500. God,
Google.
Le Mans and Daytona. Those are the 4 races, and I think the fifth one, if I think the fifth one is gosh, trying to remember what the fifth one is. It's Daytona. I think the fifth one is Sebring. If I'm not mistaken. There's like the big races. You have to win uh F1 uh, you win an F1 season, you win at Le Mans, you win Daytona. So it's Monaco, Daytona, Sebring, no, Monaco, Daytona, Le Mans, and then there's one more. I don't remember which one it is. But
Trying to find it, but there's nothing really specific on the Googles. Um, so yeah, we're gonna take your word for it. um, but there you go. That's pretty much it on him. Fernando Alonso. Again, I still have a
so
little
the
salt.
Triple Crown is the Indianapolis 500, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and the Monaco Grand Prix. And there's another one, and I think on top of it, the last one is winning the 24 Hours of Daytona, and you have like that you have like the crown because only certain people have done it. And I think they said the one driver to do the Triple Crown was Graham Hill. He won the Indianapolis 500 in 1966. He won the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1972, and he won the Monaco Grand Prix. On top of it, winning the F1 World Championship. So yeah, he did it. And I think there was only a couple drivers who tried to do it and couldn't do it.
All
Because
right.
yeah, Alonso has won Le Mans, he's won the Monaco Grand Prix, and he's won the F1 Championship. The only thing he's missing right now is he has to win the Indianapolis 500. If he wins the Indianapolis 500, he can consider himself one of the GOATs.
Well, I'll give him kudos what he does. And if he does manage to make that feat, thank you for that piece of information because I absolutely did not fucking know about that. But that bleep.
I love my racing.
But I mean, I love my racing too. But yeah, like that was just kind of a little piece of racing history that I probably would not have ever known. I'm telling you, if I'm ever on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and they ask me a racing question and they for the call a friend, phone a friend, I'm calling you. You better answer the phone. I promise. Not able to find you. All right. So AlphaTauris, they running the Red Bulls, got Yuki Tsunoda and Pierre Gasly, and their car didn't catch on fire this weekend, at least not yet.
Yeah.
Again, like you said, it's going to be a reliability issue for all the teams. I think with the race this close, it's definitely going to show who has reliability versus who has to really pick up pieces per se. Daniel Ricciardo and
wouldn't it be crazy that in just one weekend, just all you see is all these motors blowing, and then it's just like Williams wins everything? Just, what is going on here?
What is going on? Nothing makes sense. No, I don't think I don't think we're going to see that catastrophic failure of motors, but I definitely see somebody going out this weekend with some motor issues or at least some brake issues or whatever the case may be. Something's going to happen this weekend. It's going to be interesting in terms of showing a chink in that little new car armor per se. All right, so then now we got Mick Schumacher and a Haas putting up in 13th. Again, Mick Schumacher is definitely showing a little that he can drive the hell out of that little Haas. Do you think they gave Magnussen the bad car?
No. Can we be real? Mick Schumacher is under a lot of pressure right now.
Absolutely.
He has to show up because you can't pretty much be in the same car. Remember, Kevin Magnussen just
hasn't driven an F1 in what, 2 seasons?
And he placed P6. No, sorry, P7, right? P7, right? He was 7.
Well, that was before he had.
Oh no, that's right. He came P5, right? Wasn't it? No. That was in the last race. It was the 2 Ferraris, Lewis, Russell, and Magnussen. Magnussen was 5th. And then Bottas was 6th.
We have race results. Let's pull that up. Yes, Magnussen was 5th. Wow.
And then Mick Schumacher was 11th. So that's what I'm saying. He's under a lot of pressure. I don't care what no one says. He's under pressure because now he has to show up because you're basically the veteran of the team now. You know what I mean? And
yes and no, because Magnussen has F1 experience. So he doesn't have that. Even though Mick's not a rookie anymore, he doesn't have that new driver, sheen on him that he has to kind of, prove a lot. No, Magnussen has nothing to lose right now.
No, but he has to prove it because he was driving with the guy who's sulking right now all over social media.
Did you see that? Oh, yo, did you see that video? It just looks like he was
My favorite comment on the video, if you ever read the comments, was one of the comments said, "All I was waiting for was him to say, 'Hello, Mr. Bond.'" I was like, yes, because he had the face, dude. His face is just all. If you look at all his videos, all his faces are. He's like
serious stone
angry,
face.
serious face,
You
and
know?
I'm like, dude, if you were in, and the truth is saying, because if Mick Schumacher put that car up into 11th, right? You
Yes.
really think that Magnus? You really think that Nikita Mazepin was going to be fifth with that car?
No, bro. I'm sorry. I don't. I'm telling you this.
No.
I've watched this man literally come last. Like I think he tried to come last sometimes, and when he cried over the radio, last again, I was like, yeah, okay, bro. That's it for me.
That's it
You
for you.
that's the straw that brought the losing camels back. But again, yeah, his depart from Formula One, what it was, it is what it is, what it is. But I mean, hopefully he can, get Putin to give him a pardon, to go to a different country and and race underneath a different flag, or a neutral flag or something. But I think as of right now, his time in F1 is done. Because
Yeah.
Magnussen has definitely shown that he can definitely come in and drive the hell out of that car.
The only team, like I said, the only team I can see him going to and them like accepting him is Williams. Williams is the only team I could see them saying, "Hey, we will take you,"
But
because
they just got Albon back, so I don't think. Well, I don't think they would really need to be strapped for money. That would be the thing. Williams would have to be strapped for money, and they would have to get rid of Albon and then have the super billionaire boys, between Latifi and
team,
and and,
think
and
about it. Two billionaire kids in your team.
yeah.
You wouldn't even have to you wouldn't have to worry about testing. You wouldn't have to worry about where your next sponsorships are going to come. You wouldn't have to. The only thing you have to worry about is making sure that everyone's happy and
So
giving them a
so you
car.
you you want to have the island boys of Formula One? Come on, man. this that's pretty much what they're gonna be. Island boy, ready?
I, I just like I said, I just feel like he jumping back to
Yeah,
cutting out, because we segue so fast into Williams,
yeah,
and
yeah.
cutting back to Haas with Mick Schumacher. I just really think he's under a lot of pressure.
Hmm.
I really think that he needs to show up this next race.
He does.
No questions asked.
He does.
He has to be in a top 10 position. He cannot he cannot let Magnussen show him up, because if he's letting Magnussen show him up, that's just saying, hey, you're
We
basically
need to look
proving to
elsewhere.
Ferrari that you're not ready.
Yeah.
And you need to prove to Ferrari that, hey, look, at least I'm in a point scoring position. I scored points. I'm there with my teammate. If he comes eighth, I need to be ninth. If he comes eighth, I need to be seventh, or I need to be ninth. There's no questions that I need to be either be in front of him or behind him.
Yeah.
No one. It should, for him. It can't be any other way, because it
The
just
other, in a sense, yeah, like the world, eyes are on him, and in terms of one, him being a Schumacher, one, and two, driving with the Haas with the Ferrari. So it's kind of, he does have a lot to prove for his next seat,
mhm,
because that's what's going to ultimately, determine how long he spends in Formula One, this
mhm.
next move. Because what's coming up, I think Ferrari. To be honest with you, I don't think the Ferrari seat's going to be open for him for a while, because they're going to be happy with Leclerc and Sainz, and
The only way that's going to change is that if Sainz and Leclerc have a Nico and Lewis, or Weber and Seb moments. If they have those moments, then they'll either
But
go with what they need for chemistry.
I don't think Ferrari minds the inter-team fighting. I think I think they don't. I think they won't mind the inter-team fighting. To be honest with you, if that's going to be something that's going to push both of their drivers, I think that's not. I don't think they wouldn't mind. Ferrari of all teams.
If Ferraris are taking out Ferraris,
that's a different story.
All right,
that's a big different story. But as far as if they're pushing each other and having a Nico and Lewis when Nico won his championship type of moment without the crashing, well, they had one incident that
you remember that race? It was an Austrian Grand Prix.
Yes, I do.
He had all that corner and was like, "Hey,
I'm lazily turned into this corner." Oh, I didn't see you there, pal. You know what I
mean? Jacked up his race. That's what he did.
So, but yeah, I think Ferrari would love that inter-team battle because it would give them something to Tifosi to really fight about. That, oh, we got both of our Ferrari drivers, they're doing so well that they're not even worried about the rest of the field. They're fighting each other. You know what I mean? So yeah, but again, like I said, back to the Haas, I think Mick is definitely have a lot to improve as well. And I think Magnussen, he has not much to lose at this point. They brought him back and he's showing that he's capable of doing something. So right now the eyes are definitely going to be on him as well, because this is going to also prove to anybody else that's looking at him as a driver or a replacement driver for one of their drivers that they're probably ending a contract with, like, hey, Magnussen is also now back in the playing field. Hulkenberg not so much.
But think of it like this: so you don't think, hypothetically, let's say Leclerc wins this championship, right? Sainz in his head is seeing, oh, I'm winning that championship next year. Leclerc wins another championship. Ferrari's going to look at him and be like, oh, you're number two. Sainz is going to be like, I'm not a number two driver. He's going to be, you know what I mean? It's the same thing with Weber and Sebastian. When they were going at it, nobody wanted to be a number two. Yeah, they were going at it, duking it out. And the same thing with Nico and Lewis.
No, I think there was a one point a clear, not a clear 1 and 2, but then it with that season that Nico won, it was he decided that he did not want to be that in that role anymore, and he wanted a championship. So that's what I think, that at the ending of that season, right before he won his championship, he changed his mind, like, yo, I'm winning this and I'm getting out. He was having a kid, got married.
He almost won, because what happened was he almost won the championship
the year before. Wasn't it?
No, not the year before. Well, okay, so the year before that, when Lewis switched teams, they didn't win a championship. And then that next year, when Lewis won his first championship, Nico almost won that one. And then the next year after that, they were fighting it out, and Lewis won that one again. And then after that, that's when he was like, okay, I'm taking the gloves off now, and I'm just not gonna care.
Yeah.
And
I think he threw all caution and friendship and everything into the wind, and it was like, you know what, I want to taste that. I want to taste that champagne. You know what I mean?
What's so crazy? He said it. So I've been binge watching Survive, the F1 Netflix series, because like I didn't know it was that good. I thought it was okay, but I didn't know it was that good. And he even said that. He was like, look, he's like, I've been racing with Lewis since I was young. And he's like, we've always been in competition with each other, but he's like, I can claim, he's like, I sacrificed friendship. He said, I sacrificed everything for that championship. And I said that when we spoke last time.
We've been saying that for the longest.
Everything for that championship. And later on, they'll probably sit back and be like, Hey man,
It
we
was
get
it was
da,
a
da, da, da,
stupid.
yeah.
Yeah, I
But he
mean,
could always say, "But I beat you," and
right?
because he
But
could be like, "But I'm a seven." He could
I
be
beat
like,
you
"I'm a
more.
seven-time champion." It's like, yeah,
You
but
know
I
what I
took
mean?
that. You could be eight, but I took that one from you. I was like,
Uh,
oh,
twist that knife a little bit. But
exactly.
again, that's when he ultimately leaves the sport, which as of right now appears to be 2024.
Mhm,
But moving further down the grid, we got Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin with running those Mercedes power units, and again,
mhm.
Daniel Ricciardo and McLaren running Mercedes power units. Nico Hulkenberg again, Mercedes power units. So it's just a common trend, right? Like I said, at the back of the grid for these Mercedes power units, which is not a good sign. But
Well,
again,
from what everyone's saying, and sorry to cut you,
mhm,
from what everyone is saying is that so Williams and and McLaren don't think it's the power units
mhm,
because they think that it's just them
and the
basically not
arrow,
the arrow and everything right because a lot of because Mercedes a lot of teams are still struggling.
yeah.
So that's what it is. It's still the struggle. So they don't think it's the units because you know, I mean, we as spectators and
Can only
commentators,
spectate, and we can only speculate.
exactly.
You know what I
So,
mean?
but go
Uh,
on with yours. I'm sorry I cut you.
No, no, you're good. I was just saying, like, it's just not boding well right now. As if you're just looking at the back of the grid, and in terms of power units and teams that are at the back of the grid, if you're just kind of putting in that box of who has the best power unit, it just looks like Mercedes is having issues because all their teams. But like you said, I think it's a combination of the power units and the era, which it is because these teams that are at the back of the grid, Aston Martin, McLaren, and also Mercedes, they're still having those porpoising issues. So it's definitely some of the one that rake on it. Well, the loss of that high rake that they were used to running, and now having to have a even floorboard and the aero and all the wind vanes and everything that's going underneath the car is just for whatever reason, it's just taking them a little bit longer to get that right. And I think they will eventually get it right. When and how how much damage limitation are they going to have to do when it
Mhm.
comes down to when they finally get it right. That's ultimately up to the next few races.
I say Australia. I say Australia. You're gonna see them things change.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. That's what in what that's next race. I think that's
Mhm.
that we're gonna have our normal 2 week, so a week of getting cars back to factory and tearing stuff down and then
Mhm.
debriefing and doing everything else, and then the whole logistic of getting it back to now Australia from all their factories that they've dispersed to. Um, so it should be interesting. Australia seems a bit close in terms of teams. I think figuring this thing out. I think they're going
Mhm.
to have a lot more information to go back home with and do
Mhm.
their homework with. But I think again, it's probably going to be how you want to say. Look at it right, like Italy or Miami before things change a bit.
I don't even think it's gonna be all that. I think you're gonna see some progress in Australia
Yeah,
because they want to at least because you want to be in the mix for in the championship. So and Mercedes is they no joke.
yeah,
Toto knew he's ready.
yeah.
You know what I mean? There's one thing about him, he's ready. And no matter what, he's gonna have everything up and running. So I just I feel like Australia, you're gonna see a lot of things change around.
Hmm.
And I just because the track is much different from how it is to all these other tracks.
Absolutely, I think
Um,
so.
can I say that I'm starting to agree with you now? I'm starting to agree with you now. We spoke about this a while back, not on the podcast, but just amongst us.
Yeah,
But you're right. I'm sick of seeing all these flat tracks. Like I miss the flows because I'm sitting there and I'm looking at all the tracks that they're putting out, and it's a lot of street circuits and a lot of like all these weird circuits, and I'm like, where's all like the classic tracks? Like, where's
Undulations. I
my
wanted to see the
yeah,
car cresting the hill and damn near
exactly.
flying off the hill. You know, not per se, but
That's why I
you
like Zold. That's why I love Zolder because Zolder had like that the banking and you coming through and it was like a roller coaster ride when you
yeah,
got it. And it with this is just like I'm looking at all these new tracks that they're trying to bring in. Like they're literally trying to do a coast to coast in the United States. Like
yeah,
let's
they
hit
are.
Miami and then New
Las
York. Then
Vegas,
we're gonna go Las Vegas.
you
And,
know.
no, sorry, Austin, Las Vegas. It's like okay, guys, relax. Like we we wanted a U.S. Grand Prix. We got one, but now
Yeah,
you're giving us three. I mean
yeah.
four. Sorry, like
I
oh
mean, well,
man.
Texas they have that one steep turn one
Mhm.
with the sharp left and with the into the downhill. I mean, so that's kind of your I want to say an up down or a elevation change, but
Mhm.
and then you have your spas and
Your Spa,
um
and then you have Zolder. You also have I mean you have your Nurburgring.
but
Um
Austria, you have Austria. That's definitely another one. That's definitely, come on. So, but there's some. But like I said, with Las Vegas coming in, I think it's gonna be interesting, and I think there talks about New York now as well. But
yeah, I
where,
saw that too.
where in the world are they gonna put that in New York?
They're trying to do it on the like I guess this near the river.
Come on, they tried that with Formula E, and they had a race that was like I think like on near like Ellis Island or somewhere or somewhere. Well, I don't know, but
I mean,
I
we
mean,
wanted to have it in the Bronx and
right
241st
on Huts Point.
coming down hitting like every pothole.
um, see Formula One cars flying down the Deegan.
Right.
But nah, man. Like I said, jumping back into actual racing here.
He's picturing it right now.
I am.
He's picturing a F1 car coming down the D and just man,
Racing through Co-op City. What? Shut down
right?
Co-op City. You got a perfect racetrack, bro. Um, but so Daniel Ricciardo still struggling in his McLaren, 15th, picking up the back. And then I mean, I don't know what happened with Guang Zhao. He's 17th in the Alfa Romeo and the Ferrari, but again, he definitely showed some promise in that last race. So I'm not too sure what's happening with him in the back of the grid there. But
And that
again,
feels
then
like not Alonso. Daniel Ricardo has the worst luck
he
when it comes
does.
to switching teams, bro.
I don't know. I don't know if it's picking teams. I just think he got in the way of his own progress with him leaving Red Bull.
But it had to happen. It had to
Um,
happen. I just I just thought he should have just waited till that Mercedes seat opened up and then jumped on it.
I don't think he would have ever landed in Mercedes. Can I say that? I don't think he would have ever landed in Mercedes. I don't think he fit that profile of a driver that they're looking for. Look who they went for. They went for George Russell. He couldn't be more clean cut British, you know, to the T, poster boy than
Lando Norris is the poster boy. That's the pretty boy right there.
um
He's the one. And don't get me wrong, I McLaren is probably one of my favorites.
yeah.
I just feel like he just gets that rough ride, man. He switched to Renault, didn't have a good run at Renault.
No, he
Came to
didn't.
McLaren, McLaren did okay, and now it's just boom
But he
back to
struggled in that McLaren because I don't think he just ever found his groove. And that's what I think. After Red Bull, he just could not find that groove in the car to make the car click. Like
Mhm.
while the his teammates at Renault, were putting the car, at 10th, 8th, 9th, he was coming in, 13th, 15th, and stuff like that. So again, I just think he just never really found his groove in the car, and it's just weird. And now he's coming back off of COVID, and he didn't get time to run in the car much, pre-race, before that first race, and then they ended up at the back of the grid, and now it looks like they're probably going to end up at the back of the grid again. They're going to be, fighting for 20th and 20th through 17th with Williams.
And that's going to be interesting because I just, and it sucks because McLaren was like a staple, bro.
They were
staple. And
like you said,
when
every team has their era.
That partnership with Mercedes, it just never was the same, man.
That, like you said, every team has their era, and I think once they lost and got off of that horse per se, they just never could manage to climb back on it. And it's unfortunate for them because they are what do you want to call a legacy team in Formula One. They're not as big as Formula as Ferrari and Mercedes are in terms of his legacy, but yeah.
No. If you think about it, McLaren has that legacy, bro. Them and Ferrari. You remember James Hunt and McLaren. So they've been there. God, geez, even before that, man, they were there.
If you want to talk about, I'm talking about as far as how much these teams get paid from F1 for being in the sport. Ferrari takes the cake.
McLaren's getting paid. They're getting paid.
Not as much as Ferrari. You can
probably
look that
not
up.
as much as Ferrari, but they're still getting paid. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're getting their grandfather. You know what I mean?
They are. But then again, like I said,
but I think where they went wrong, and I just think where McLaren went wrong is with their partnership with Mercedes. They were like, "Oh, we don't need you. We don't need you. We'll find someone else." And they're still regretting that to this day.
Do you think they would still be doing things if they had if can't say that now because they would be running that Red Bull Honda motor per se, and they probably would be still doing good.
Remember they ran Honda before everybody else ran Honda.
They did, and it was weird because Honda came it was everybody thought there was going to be that magical Honda McLaren moment as before, and it just wasn't. It was very disappointing because I was looking forward to that too. Because as much as I'm a Mercedes fan, I was definitely looking to see that magical McLaren Honda moment come back, and but it just fizzled out. But then they we're supplying power units to Red Bull, and they decided to leave the sport, and Red Bull won their championship, and then mid postseason, they were like, hey, guys, we kind of changed our mind. We're gonna come back, but we're still gonna allow you to put Red Bull on it, but it's gonna be our motors.
Exactly. Which to me is I think if they were still running McLaren motors, they probably wouldn't have had such a bad time with Alonso.
Yeah.
So I still think they probably would have been more of a mid-pack car, and that's just me saying that they probably would be more of a mid-pack car. But I don't know. I just feel like McLaren was playing games, and Mercedes didn't like them. So I think that's why Mercedes was like, okay, well, since you're playing games, we'll come into the sport and we'll show you how it's done.
Sure.
And all we need is a consistent driver.
Cool.
And they got what they wanted. So.
All right. I think we're an hour in. So how about we start to give the power predictions for qualifying?
Qualifying and race.
Yeah, I guess so. We can do that. So yeah, right now, obviously, I think I'm putting my money on Charles. I think he's definitely going to take pole. I think, like I said, at this point, he really is finding that groove that I've been saying that Ricciardo just going to find. But like I said, he's found his groove, and I think he's kind of pushing that car to where its limits. Max definitely is going to be on the grid. I think it's definitely going to be a close second, and Science is going to push up. I want to see Perez. I want to see Perez shake it up and push Signs and make it a interesting race with a Ferrari and a Red Bull 2-3. You know, that should be interesting.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that. Me, because I got my predictions totally messed up the last time. Well, I did say Leclerc. I did say I would love to see Leclerc win. So, and I think I somewhat got that right, but you guys tell me if I'm wrong. But me, I just think that Red Bull's coming with a vengeance this weekend, and I think Christian Horner has
choice words.
told everyone let's go. So okay. I'm gonna go with, I don't think Sainz is gonna win his first race until Australia or somewhere else. But I'm gonna go with I'm spicing it up. I'm gonna say Leclerc is gonna win. I'm gonna say Max second, and I'm gonna say, oh man, it's a toss up between. Can I say this before we even go into that?
Yeah.
That Perez has to show up in this race, because if he doesn't show up,
he's going to cement his role in the season as the number 2 again.
The number 2. So I'm going to say Perez third. I'm going to say Red Bull 2-3 with a Ferrari fourth. But it all depends on Ferrari's reliability. And that's all I'm going to leave it at. It's all going to depend on Ferrari's reliability, because if we're already seeing smoke, what's going to happen now is Red Bull's already seen the blood in the water, and they're like, okay, let's go. Let's push them to see if we can break them. So I'm going to say, and then I'm going to say Mercedes.
They're going to pick up the pieces because, again, as of right now, they're almost a half a second off the pace.
But my dream, if I'm going to say my dream, is Sainz winning, Lewis second. And I'm going to say, I'm just saying this is my dream.
That'll be juicy.
My dream. And Leclerc third. I just feel like this, my dream is just at least see Lewis mix it up a little, but like I said, that's just a dream, and dreams can turn into nightmares. So
but dreams can come true.
And they have been, but not this season. It's definitely going to be
not this early in the season. If you want to put it that way.
But truly, I think it's going to be Ferrari and 2 Red Bulls on full pounce mode. They're going to be ready. I don't think they care about what's going to happen to their motor. I think Red Bull is going to be like, crank that shit up to the max, and they're going to
be. They need points at this point, because that double DNF is definitely gonna come back and hurt them later on in the season if they don't, place again 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, for the rest of the season, and they have to be reliable. Because you gotta think about it now. I think they may have changed. I'm not too sure what they've changed on it, and if they may be facing any penalties, coming later on down the season for what they've changed yet. So, but that's gonna be interesting to see how this double DNF plays out, come 15 races in.
And Max, I know you don't listen to us, but you should. No whining on the radio, okay? All right, because all that car, no, just hey, look.
It was.
Up? Dude, he was what? I should have never listened to you guys. I'm like, what are you, fine? Come on, guys.
Right? Like, that was kind of interesting. I've never heard that kind of display of teen angst on the
He was like, I
radio.
never should have listened to you guys. I should have just went.
I
I'm
should
like,
have never listened to you, Mom.
but yeah. But I'm sitting there, and then when they did all the stats, you remember when they were doing all the stats, they were like the same lap times he was doing was like his fastest
Yeah,
lap
even
time.
Marco Helmut came out and said, like, um, it really wasn't our fault, Max. If we did the math ourselves, and it was down to the extra second that was taken in the pit stop, because I think what Leclerc had a 2.6 or 2.9, and
Yeah.
he had like a 3.6 or 3.9, so it was just that one extra second in the pit box that made that difference of how and when you came out. So,
And another thing, I need everyone to stop saying, "Oh, Leclerc handled him like he was a little child." I'm like, first of all, guys, first of all, let's just pump the brakes.
right.
All right, Max has always driven like this, and other drivers have always done the same thing to him. So this is nothing new.
They let him do his stuff, and they pass him
Exactly.
back. They just know that
Exactly.
it's coming, that he's eventually going to overextend himself into the corner,
Mhm.
and they're going to be able to get that position back if they're in the right position at
Mhm.
the right time.
And what I was telling this guy the other day is that the difference between this season and next season, the difference between last season and this season, this is still the first race of the season, so he's not going to mess anything up. He wants to get the points, but trust me, if he feels he's in the hunt, you're going to get old Max,
Oh
which
yeah,
is not caring, crashing,
diving.
not leaving any space. You know what I mean?
He
Like,
didn't leave me any space.
leave me any space, blah blah. Yeah, you're gonna get that. But right now, he's gonna be fighting. He's pushing for points.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what he
I
wants.
mean, again, they have to, because they have no points at this point. They have
If
that big old goose egg.
if there was
Wow.
no, go on, continue.
Well, I mean, they have a big old goose egg. Wow. Ferrari has points. Mercedes has points. Everybody else that they want to beat has points. So it's gonna. I like I said, this double DNF is very interesting. It's a little wild card that's gonna come up in the middle of the season to see how frantic or how calm they should take it. You know what I mean? So
If I was gonna title this a weekend, it would definitely have to be uh
I got shit to prove weekend.
oh, I was gonna say Revenge of the Sith, but
A lot of motherfuckers got work to do weekend. I don't know.
Empire Strikes Back.
Like, I don't know, because like you said, there's a lot of people who are on this grid that have a lot to prove, and a lot of people that need to show up and shut out. Show up or shut up, excuse me. Like you said, Science needs to show up again. He needs to not fall into that number 2 role if he wants to be in the championship hunt. He needs to, make Ferrari not have a clear 1-2 if he wants to be in the championship fight. Perez has something to show up. Again, he needs to come up in this race if he does not want to be that number 2 for the rest of the season.
And that's why I said this weekend for Red Bull is Revenge of the Sith, because they need to come back and not care about anything. Max is gonna have to tap into that inner I don't care mode and just drive his ass off. That's the only thing he can do is drive his ass off.
Yeah.
And if he gotta, I'm not saying for him to take out somebody, but
oh, you know that's in the cards. I'm just playing. I don't know. I haven't seen him take
wait,
per se.
are you trying to say that Red Bull would intentionally crash? Never.
Oh no.
What kind of biasness is that?
Listen, man. I don't think that there would be team orders that would come down per se on the radio, but if they start hitting strat mode 13, some random strat modes that you never heard of, that call may be coming down. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
But all right. So I think we touched on all the teams. I think we touched on a lot of topics tonight. Anything else that you wanted to kind of bring up, or anything that we really didn't discuss that was kind of interesting over these past couple of days, or what you want to see for the next race?
No, I just feel like it's you're gonna see Ferrari dominance, but you're gonna see a rampant Red Bull, and that's pretty much what you're gonna be seeing. But other than that, I mean, we got everything. I was able to get in our Nikita Mazepin's whole angry rant.
Jab, poke,
So he
poke.
had two of them. So
I've only seen one because I couldn't stomach to watch the other one because I'm like, he just looks too angry on the cover photo. So I'm
he's
like,
like, and Haas never had my back and my team, and I'm gonna set up a foundation. I was sitting there, I was like, oh, you setting up a foundation? Hey, I'm Russian. You can send me some money. But then I sat there and I was like, but with what money?
send it in crypto, please. Bitcoin, untraceable, if you can. You could send it to my to my wallet. I have descendants of root. No, I don't. I'm just lying. I'm just playing. But
Just send me one Bitcoin. I'll be fine.
just one whole Bitcoin. I may hold on to it. It's gonna go to a good cause. To feed myself. But again,
and my new exotic car parked in my driveway.
hey, we need to, we don't need to tell him about that. All he needs to know that he donated to a good cause.
Hey. Whoa.
But
I got other things I gotta take care of.
Right. All right, guys. I think we're gonna see you after qualifying, and then after that we're gonna see you at the race. So
yeah.
Good night.
Yeah, and like I said, our slogan. If you think we're being biased,
we probably
are. I don't know, but if you think we're not being biased,
you listen to the wrong podcast.
Yep. This is the Biased but Not Biased podcast. Later, guys.
Peace. All right.